What's up, guys? It's Alf here with a mock draft. We're doing 7 rounds for 2 different mock drafts on 2 different simulators. The first one that we're going to be doing here is Seattle because they're my favorite team. Um, Probably at some point we're going to be getting into full first round mock drafts, full second round mock drafts. If this kind of gets going and I get a team request, I'll probably do one on them. If somebody in the comments is like, give me a 7 round Packer mock draft, I'll get it done. Anyways, let's get this going, man. Pick 18. Ashton Jeanty is available. Who is probably moving up for Ashton Jeanty? Because the Bears traded down with the Steelers, who moved up for a corner. The Bears could look for Jeanty at 21. You could see someone like the Chargers making a run for the best running back in the draft. Jim Harbaugh loves his guys. Let's say 22 and 86 for 18 and 137. It's not gonna go through. This is an issue that I have with this mock simulators. They're stiff. They're very stiff with their trades. So let's come here. 22, 86 for 18, 137, and I'll throw 196 in as well. They're not going to give it to me. They don't want to move up. And that's how it's going to be sometimes. You're not going to get a trade down. Another team like the Texans could move up for Armand Membu. I think he's a day one starter at left or right guard. Let's see if we can get some done with that. 25 and 89 for 18. Texans? No. I don't think I'm going to get a trade here. I think that's okay, though. I think it's okay if I don't get a trade here at 18 because there's people here that I really, really like. Jalen Walker, I think, is an extremely good player. Just imagine the pass rush ability, He plays linebacker, but he's kind of a sub-edge. It would be extremely interesting to have in a Mike McDonald system. I don't know why they have safety and quarterback listed as needs. I don't know why they have offensive tackle listed as need. We need backups, but Kobe Bryant's on the last year of his deal, but I think he probably gets an extension or he gets re-signed. We don't need a starting quarterback right now. Ed, if you think Geno Smith's the problem, we disagree. I'm just going to take Kenneth Grant. At 18. Nose tackle is our second biggest need behind guard. But I don't think John Schneider is going to pull the plug. Or not pull the plug. He's going to... I forgot the saying. I don't think he... Pull the trigger. John Schneider is not going to pull the trigger on a guard in the first round. He went on the... What is it? Wyman and Bob? He went on Wyman and Bob and was basically just solidified his opinion that he hates the offensive guard position and that they suck and he's never going to pay one. Which is unfortunate, because look at the Eagles, who have the best offensive line in the league and completely dominated the people that were trying to go for a dynasty in Kansas City. Looking at the available players here, I really like Marcus Bow. Marcus Bow. I know you don't pronounce the M. I don't know if it's Bow or Bow. He's extremely... I think he plays left, right guard, or center anywhere on the interior. And I think he does it well. Landon Jackson is here. Landon Jackson is so huge. He's not some elite edge player, but he would set the run so well. He sets the edge against the run so well. Azaria Thomas is here, and I think he's probably, if I come defense cornerback, because you come to the corners that we're taking already, it's Will Johnson, which is fair. I think Azaria Thomas is better than Siobhan Revel. I don't think he's better than Ben Morrison, but I think he's a better prospect because of Morrison's injuries. Who else? Trey Amos. I think he's better than Trey Amos, and I don't think it's that close either. I'm an Azaria Thomas super fan. And I might just have to. I might have to pull the trigger on Azaria Thomas, even with Marcus Bowe available. I think it's a much better idea to get the guy who I think is the second best corner in the class. Obviously, Travis Hunter's there, but he could play receiver too. One of the two. Yeah, Andrew Mukuba at 82 is so nice, but we have just not a need like that in our secondary. Because he just gets mucked up for the first year, and if you think you're trying to contend, then I don't know what to tell you. Let's look at the trade offers. 86 for a fourth, and then 110 for a third next year. As enticing as those are, you know, where is is he already gone? Is he really high up on their board? Oh no, I just didn't see Anthony Belton. That's who I was looking for. I think Anthony Belton moves into guard, and I think he's pretty good at it. He was very, very talented and played really well at NC State at tackle. I think his frame, if you look here, 6'5", 345, I think that's a great frame for a guard. He's strong. He plays with, like, really, really good center of gravity. Do I feel like I'm overdrafting because we need a guard? Not really. I think I'm just going to keep missing him. I'm just going to look for NC State. There we go. 104. Anthony Belton. You just kept losing him on the board. Yeah, so we have the nose tackle of the future. Kenneth Grant is elite. Azaria Thomas is probably, like, genuinely has the ability to be our cornerback one. Anthony Belton's going to move inside. Charles Grant at 137. Jesus, man. He's way too talented to be that low. Even though he went to William and Mary, I mean, the ability is there. Ooh, Seth McLaughlin. Seth McLaughlin is the best center in the class, even with the injury issue. Granted, this isn't a great center class. I like Jake Majors as well. Do they have him? No. I don't like Jonah Monheim really at all. He looked really, really bad at USC, I feel. I'm going to take Seth McLaughlin. I know there are players available like J.J. Paggs and Ricky White. I don't think either of them are going to be there at 137, and I don't want to do something that I think is wholly unrealistic. Oof, Riley Mills. Riley Mills is a 3-tech, and we need the D-line depth. We really do want to get our rotation going, and I think we can shore it up with Riley Mills. Yeah, D-line rotation. You gotta love it. We're going real trench heavy at this point in the draft. What are we looking at for tight ends? Luke Lachey should not be available. Do they have anyone, like, awfully low? No. Luke Lachey is way too good to be at 187. I know I'm contradicting myself a little bit, but it seems a lot more possible than some of the other things that have been available. Antoine Wells. I like Antoine Wells quite a bit. I think he would be really, really good actually in the Kubiak system. That Shanahan style offense that really values run after the catch ability. Antoine Wells else has that. He's really shifty, like really shifty. I, I really like that. What are we thinking about here? Christian Lichtenhahn's a really good pick here. For those who weren't watching a lot of the Oregon State Beavers, Christian Lichtenhahn was a killer, dude. He's all of 6'9", 340. They got him kind of under there. I think he would come in and just be what Stone Forsythe was, but better in pass protection. He's a swing tackle, and Stone Forsythe's going to be gone. We're not paying him this offseason. At least I pray we don't. So I'll take GCL. And then you see a player like Trevor Etienne. I mean, he's talented as all hell, but we have 3 good running backs. We have 2 great running backs, and we also have Kenny McIntosh, who I think looked really good in the opportunity that he was given. Ben Eurosek. What are we thinking about for the edge groups here? Baron Sorrell. That would be a good pick. Is there anyone low on their board? No. David Bailey isn't bad at all. Yeah, I like... Am I missing anything? I might take Shiloh Sanders just as a special teamer. He's a really good tackler, and that would be nice to have, especially because of how awful our special teams was outside of our punter. Michael Dixon, love him. Yeah, I am honestly down to draft a special teamer, and I think that's what Shiloh Sanders is. We'll go ahead and download that. That is the PFN mock draft and no trades. I'll just quickly go back over this. Kenneth Grant's your starting nose tackle of the future. He moves Byron Murphy out to the 3 tech, which is his natural position. It lets you move Murphy out and get rid of Mike Morris, who didn't play well at all. He got it. He got snaps and just didn't make anything of them. And then he stopped getting snaps at the end of the season because he was bad. And that also lets us not have to have Jonathan Hankins playing, because he's not going to be on the team because he was not good. Azaria Thomas is so good. I mean, if you you might look and see he went to FSU and be like, oh, FSU was terrible. FSU was so bad. How is he a good corner? FSU was awful. It's not his fault. He's talented. He was doing what he could. He is a CB1 in the league. He is an outside boundary corner, and he's really, really damn good. Anthony Belton moves inside to guard. Anthony Belton has perfect size for a guard. He's talented. I think he plays left or right guard. I think he could start at left guard and be good. Seth McLaughlin is just kind of an upside bet. He was really, really good before he got hurt and was looking like a day 2 guy. And then he just got injured. Riley Mills is just better than Mike Morris, I think, out of the gate. Lets you get better depth in your D-line. Luke Lachey comes in as tight end 2 or 3. And it really depends on who you bring in free agency. But there's guys like Mike Gesicki out there. There's players at the tight end position. Mo Alley Cox is a free agent. So you could bring one of them in. And then Barner and O'Shea would have that tight end 2, tight end 3 sub role kind of locked in. Unless you think Barner is going to be your tight end 1, but as talented as I think Barner is, and as hard of a worker as it seems he is, I don't know if he's ready for that. He had like, I don't even think he had 250 receiving yards. You know, I don't know if he's ready to be your tight end 1 full time. There's players in free agency who can do that. Antoine Wells is a yak machine and would be great in a short pass, heavy QB roll out of the pocket kind of offense that Kubiak likes. GCL is your Stone Forsyth replacement swing tackle. Shiloh Sanders is a special teamer. And now that we saved that, we can exit out of this, and we have the mock database. I'm going to try and get a trade going because I didn't do any in the previous one, and I would like to. Look at how the board fell here. Tyler Warren and Malachi Starks are available. Josh Simmons is available. Who needs a tackle? Who needs maybe the best tackle in the draft, barring an injury? Detroit always really, really likes shoring up that line, man. I think Detroit knows how close they are to being at the top. They were injured. They were injured to hell, and I think if they weren't, they probably go toe to toe with that Eagles team. Their defense before Hutch went down, they lost Carlton Davis. They lost Terrion Arnold missed a bit of time. I think Brian Branch missed games. I mean, that's elite players that you have playing for your defense who didn't play at least some of the season. And I just think that's kind of bad for defense, you know, if you're that injured, you know, it's not a good thing. It's good that Kenneth Grant's not available. I would have been considering him. At 18, Membu's available, Tyler Booker's available. That last draft felt like a John Schneider mock draft. It probably would have been more realistic if I took a running back in the top 100 if I really wanted it to be a John Schneider mock draft. But I'm going to do this how I would do it if I was a GM. And if I'm the GM, I look at how god-awful the interior of this offensive line is, and I say, the interior of the offensive line, and I say, this needs work. What I also say is throw a bag at Tevin Jenkins, or throw a bag at, like, Drew Dahlman. I like Trey Smith. I think Trey Smith is talented, but I think you can do a lot better with a mediocre right guard and an extremely good left guard than you can with a mediocre left guard and an extremely good right guard. Right guard's inherently less valuable. So if we want to contend, we need to spend in free agency on the offensive line and not spend in the draft. Because none of these players are guaranteed to be what you think they're going to be. You would rather get somebody who is proven to do it at the NFL level instead of taking somebody like Armand Membu who hasn't played guard and moving him to guard and hoping, hey, you're pretty talented at right tackle, let's move you to left guard. You know, as talented as I think he is, you would rather go with the guarantee, or what is closer to the guarantee. At 18, who would move up for a Tyler Warren or a Malachi Starks, the two players that I think fell and aren't reasonably probably going to be available at 18. I don't think either of them will. So let's see. Washington. Washington saw what their offense was capable of. You do this, and then you throw them a 5th-round pick, and you do that, and you're happy with it. And they didn't take Tyler Warren, but I can't control that as much as they should have at 18. They took Nick Gordon. That's a pick of all time. Oh man, I tried. I tried to get him to do what I wanted him to do. Armand Boo, that's a pick and a half. Colston Loveland is so good. He's a really, really good receiving tight end. At 29, they took Donovan Jackson. Oh, I was going to think about Donovan Jackson. I'm thinking about doing what the Panthers did, where they, in the last draft, where they went from 33 to 32, and they guaranteed themselves a 5th round, or a 5th-year option on Xavier Legette. And I genuinely do think that Gray Zabel is a better prospect than a lot of these players that are available. Nick Emenwari is there, and he's great. I just kind of really, really like Gray Zabel, and this kind of goes exactly against what I was saying before. Do I stick to my guns, or do I take Gray Zabel because I think he's really good? No, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm taking Colston Loveland at 29. It's an odd pick. It's an odd pick for sure, but Colston Loveland is talented as hell. So this is the issue that I have with these mock simulators is 50 to 53, they're giving me a top 120 pick, and then 50 to 54, they're giving me 200, and then 50 to 59, they're giving me a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7. It's not happening. Moving down 3 spots for, I don't know who they'd take. Marion Hampton, maybe? They're going to move up, and they're going to take Jackson Dart. No, they took TJ Sanders. It's actually a good pick. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Or no, they took Josiah Stewart. That's also a good pick. They need pass rush. They also need, seemingly some tight end help. Cade Otton isn't the player that you would like him to be, I would say, in my head. We have 2 second-round picks, as well as 2 third-round picks. Trey Amos. Trey Amos is really good. Trey Amos is he's a good run defender. He's a great boundary corner. I think he fits really well with the Mike McDonald scheme. Yeah, I think Trey Amos is just going to be the pick there at 53. And then, Jesus Christ, Kansas City. Oh my God. Getting desperate after a Super Bowl loss. That'd be funny. I can't do it. Why is a running back listed as a need? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Sorry if you hear me yawning. I'm recording this at 1 in the morning. this is certainly a scenario that we happen to be in. I like Alfred Collins. I don't know if I like Alfred Collins at the back end of the second round. You know what I do like? I like Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson is huge. He's an extreme. He's massive. He massive. Okay, I'm brain rotted. But Landon Jackson's really, really good. I think he is worth like a second round pick at that point. He's huge. He isn't the greatest pass rusher, but he's powerful. He sets the edge. He plays the run really, really well. And we can use that, because Derek Hall can't defend the run basically at all. And then at 82, I'm considering a lot of stuff. I go over here, like, none of these players are third round players. Tate Ratledge is a third round player, but he's a right guard, and we did that already. We did the whole take a right guard at in the third round that you think is going to be really good, and then he wasn't really good. He was actually awful, and that made me sad. Christian Haynes was like my favorite player in last year's draft. I thought he was going to be a top 10 right guard in the league coming out. I thought he was elite. I thought he was like a top of the second round type of player, and he just wasn't. And I'm not sure why. There's obviously some power concerns. Maybe he's just a center. Maybe he's just a center that can't play right guard. Enough dwelling on Christian Haynes. Will Howard's available. I think Will Howard's alright. Jalen Knoll, that would be a pick. Ozzy Trapilo. I never actually. Every time I do film review on these guys, I do it with the audio off. Because listening to football commentators scream for 4.5 hours is not something that I'm a huge fan of. I listen to games quiet. That's probably just a me thing. But I don't really know how to pronounce some of these names. Ozzy Trapilo, Schmale, Munden Jr. Is it Schmale like Ishmael or Ishmael? Is his name Smile? That would be fun. I'm getting sidetracked here. Darius Alexander is a starting nose tackle. He's a good one too. He's a real good nose tackle. He's powerful. He's strong. He does basically everything I said Landon Jackson did, but from the interior. Again, not a top-tier pass rusher, but you can live with that. Dylan Fairchild is available. And I think you pull the trigger on that. Like, easily. Dylan Fairchild was a good left guard for Georgia. Like, the entire time that he played in Georgia. I think he's probably a late third-round player. Before making that decision, though, I'm good on the rest of these players. Dylan Fairchild is a really good left guard. And even if you do spend on someone like Tevin Jenkins, it's not a bad idea to get some depth because we don't have another left guard. Our backup left guard is Christian Haynes. He was also our backup right guard and our third center. Can't ask of him all of that, Sebastian Castro's available? That's enticing. Shmail Munden's also very good. I'm pretty big on Shmail Munden. I think he rushes the passer pretty well. Like, I think he could at some point play like funnily his teammate. I think his teammate Jalen Walker can do that same thing. Playing almost like a sub edge at like points. I really like Shmail Munden. He's good enough to just cover like the fast tight ends over the middle. He has the speed. He has the speed to do it. And it's never a problem to shore up a position that needs shored up. And if we don't retain Ernest Jones, which I'm almost completely confident we will, but that's a separate thing that's happening entirely. Oh my god, I love Kyle McCord so much. It's the 6th round, and Kyle McCord's available, and I have to pull that trigger. He's the best QB in the class under pressure, and he was playing hero ball all year. If Kyle McCord wasn't playing elite football, Syracuse lost, and they won 10 games. Kymon Rucker is available. I really like Kymon Rucker. Kymon Rucker does, he drops into coverage, and he's very talented laterally. He has all of the physical ability to move and cover the running back out of the backfield and play over the middle a little bit. And at this point, we got Colston Loveland, who's a really, really good receiving tight end. We're going to lose Farrell Brown, which might not be a loss in some people's eyes. He was not good. Jalen Conyers is a really good blocker. He doesn't have super high receiving upside, but bringing him in to block and play, honestly, kind of like a sub fullback seems interesting. So, to recap, 29 and 61 for 18 and 173. Washington at 18 grabbed Nick Scorton, which is a pick, but it's fine. And then at 173, they picked up Jackson Hawes, who's the best blocking tight end in the draft. That's a good pick. At 173, I like that. I just don't like Nick Scorton at 18. And then 53 and 120 for 50. That seems fine to me. Colston Loveland is the best pure receiving tight end in the draft. And I think he's got that little Michigan connection with Mike McDonald and AJ Barner. Colston Loveland was like, he's from, I think, Goldendale, Washington. And when I go road tripping with my family through Washington, there's a hotel that we stop at in Goldendale, and that's kind of given me an affinity for Colston Loveland. And yeah, he's not a good blocker, like at all. He's a bad blocker. He's a really, really good athlete. He's extremely good in those 15 to 16 yard, like, in-breaking routes, and he makes really fast cuts. He has, like, he has a really big catch radius. He's got crazy long arms. He has really, really good. He does what I wish DK Metcalf would do, and he catches with his hands, and he has really, really high like grip strength. Um, to keep the ball safe when he's bringing it to the ground. He's a really, really good seam threat. Um, he can line up basically anywhere, which I think is going to be really beneficial for the Kubiak system. He can play in the line. He can play out wide. He's fast enough to beat corners playing in press, and he gets off of it. He really he needs there's like three things that he needs really, like, and all of them are related to his blocking. Colston Loveland is like, I think he's 6'5", but he's like 240 pounds. He needs to put on at least a little bit of weight so that he can protect and he can run block a little bit. But he's the best receiver in the draft. He'd be so good in the Kubiak system. Even like the two tight end sets, you bring him in to play as a sub receiver almost, and you bring in AJ Barner or you bring in Jalen Conyers to block and then release. It's a really, really good idea in my mind. I just spent like 10 minutes talking about Colston Loveland. And then Trey Amos. Trey Amos is an exceptional boundary corner. I think Trey Amos is like, what TJ Tampa was? I think he's that, but better. He's a great tackler. He is a good run defender. He's extremely sticky in coverage. He's a good press man corner. He can play in the zone. He doesn't have very good contact balance. And you see these, you see on the tape some of these, like, quick releases or like a double move off the line or like a sudden break. He kind of loses himself a little bit there. He really he lets receivers get under him a little bit, and you see it. You see a ton of short routes. If I can find the specific game that like is in my head about that, I don't remember. I watched it and I think it was Ole Miss Florida. Ole Miss's offense was so good they just couldn't get in the end zone. But there were a couple like points. Was it not Ole Miss Florida? I don't think it was Ole Miss Florida. No. I'm wrong. Was it LSU? I think it was LSU. Yes. It was Ole Miss versus LSU, and Kyron Lacey hit this like 5-yard in, and I'll see if I can find the play, and I'll put it in the comments or something. But he like absolutely demolished Trey Amos. And it sounds like I hate Trey Amos. I love Trey Amos. He just has a couple things that need work. I need to lock in and shorten this up. um, yeah, I really like this draft, man. Colson Loveland's a great receiver. He plays inline, he plays outside. Trey Amos is a great boundary corner, and I think with Reek presumably being gone within the next 2 years because of his consistent seeming lack of effort, um, he can just come in and play on the outside. He might play on the outside in 2025 if we don't bring back Josh Jobe, or he might beat out Josh Jobe for that job. A lot of J's there. Landon Jackson is basically just he does everything that Draymond Jones did from the edge, except he's a better pass rusher and he's more consistent in the run game. Darius Alexander is your starting nose tackle. He moves basically what I said before about Kenneth Grant, except Darius Alexander's a worse pass rusher. But when you have Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, Leonard Williams, and Byron Murphy lined up, it doesn't really matter if you have a bad pass rusher at your nose tackle position. Dylan Fairchild is a great left guard. I mean, he's not in the echelon of left guard with like Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson, and Jonas Savainia. I think they're day one starters. I think Dylan Fairchild could be a starter, but like not a starter that you are really comfortable starting, which is why I'm suggesting bringing in someone like Tevin Jenkins, and then you either sit Dylan Fairchild or you try him out somewhere else, or you just have a really, really high upside backup. And that's okay to have, man. It is okay to have some good players as your backups because injuries happen. We saw the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. They were missing Cam Jurgens, and they moved Landon Dickerson to center, and they had a backup left guard in, and he was really good, you know? Like, you need depth. You need depth. Smale Munden? CBS Sports said it was Smile Munden, and I think that's a nice name. I like Smile. So we're gonna say Smile. Smile Munden is talented as hell. He's a freak athlete. He's a very short tackler, and that's just kind of what I think Mike McDonald wants in a linebacker. You saw that with Tyrese Knight. Tyrese Knight was an exceptional tackler at UTEP, and you get that again. And then Kyle McCord's a high upside backup. He's the best QB in the class under pressure. Like I said, he willed Syracuse to every single one of their wins. If he was off in the 2 games that he didn't play well, they lost. And that's just how it was at Syracuse. And that's a good thing for Kyle McCord's draft stock. You know, he was that offense, and he was damn good. Kymon Rucker is the Mike McDonald edge, I think. His ability laterally and his horizontal movement make him so good to drop into coverage. You can put him back, like, there were a ton of these plays this year where we dropped Boye Mafe into coverage, or we dropped Draymond Jones into coverage, and they just aren't fast enough to keep up with those tight ends. Kymon Rucker is fast enough laterally to keep up with those tight ends over the middle, and he's fast enough to get into the gap that he needs to get into by the time he makes his release. And I think that would be valuable to have. And then we have Jalen Conyers, who is the second or the third best blocking tight end in the draft. He's probably just every bit of a blocker Pharaoh Brown was, except Pharaoh Brown got a ton of holding penalties. And I don't know if Jalen Conyers is going to get a ton of holding penalties, but I would hope not. So we nab a screenshot of this. It's our 7-round Seahawks mock draft. We did two of them. We did two of them today. 2 7-round Seahawk mock drafts in one video. This will be going up at some point on Sunday the 16th. I don't know when, but can't be mad at it. This is a lot of fun. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I appreciate everybody that's watching. Make sure you like and sub to the channel. Thank you, everybody. And I will be back next week with another mock draft.